Hey guys, Luton here, and if like me you might be feeling a little bit in a sort of purgatory this week because Star Wars Battlefront is nearly here, but it's not quite here yet, and I was really after some FPS action this evening. Yes, of course Fallout is here, but I really wanted some FPS gameplay, and we did play a little Battlefield 4, which was very good as well. It was good from a comparison point of view, but I actually ended up playing some Battlefield 3 Close Quarters. And the reason I jumped in on here is because I really wanted this sort of close quarter infantry style gameplay, and Close Quarters was probably one of the best. It's probably the second best. I would say Aftermath was the best DLC for Battlefield 3. I don't really qualify Karkan because it kind of came free at the start, and it was just very good anyway. So yeah, Aftermath the best, and then Close Quarters the second best on Battlefield 3. And even though we do have close quarter, domination maps in Battlefield 4, it doesn't feel the same, and this is really why I wanted to get back to it. You play something like Locker, and then you compare it to like Ziba Tower, it feels very, very different. Now, I had hoped that maybe I would be very lucky and find a server rotation for the other maps in the Close Quarter DLC, and the other maps are like Donya Fortress, Scrap Metal, Operation 925, and then you got Ziba Tower, so the 4 maps. But yeah, surprising, not surprising, was that actually Ziba Tower was the only one that was running, so I was like, okay, we'll play Ziba Tower. So we ended up playing this 1,000 ticket match, and it was very, very exciting. For the first kind of like 65-70% of the round, it was just very kind of even. I mean, we're talking like 2-3 tickets between it, but then when it came down to the last section, it started to get really, really under pressure. We could feel, and I was actually very happy. I got joined in by a few of my clan mates as well. So we had a small squad going on playing it out. But the gameplay was just, there's something very, the map design for the close quarter maps is incredibly good. And the vertical gameplay actually works. And here is the thing, okay, is that with a lot of the Battlefield 4 maps, the vertical gameplay a lot of the times doesn't work because it's almost like there's too many angles that you can get caught out from. But in the close quarter maps on Battlefield 3, the vertical gameplay was often more controlled in terms of line of sight, if you understand what I mean. So even though, yes, you can get attacked from above, there's often more opportunities to get out of line of sight. But if you go onto a map like, I don't know, like Hainan or something like this, you can have a lot of vertical gameplay there, but you get caught out very, very easily. If you go on Operation Shanghai, same deal there. There's lots of roads and open spaces all over the place, so yeah, there might be verticality going on there, but you get caught out really badly a lot of the time. And I think that's true for a lot of maps in Battlefield 4. But in Battlefield 3, the close quarter maps, because they were designed purely and simply for this kind of infantry style close quarter gameplay, that doesn't really happen. And so you have a real opportunity to, yes, get vertical attacks in, but it doesn't mean that you can kind of just sit up somewhere. The other thing is that in a lot of the maps in the Close Quarter DLC, it was very difficult to find areas that players could continually camp from. There's usually, this is what I mean, is like there's so many routes available to you. It was very unusual to find one area that you could lock down incredibly successfully. Of course, there are a couple, but overall, it didn't sort of have like a massively negative impact. You never felt like you were being bottlenecked or that you could be horribly, horribly trapped. Well, if you look at something like, Operation Locker, look at how horrifically bottlenecked and trapped you can get on that map. But on this one, the fluidity of the gameplay would just flow all the time. And that was the best thing about this, was that you could just keep moving and moving and moving. And, there was always the vertical, action. It wasn't just about engaging enemies and getting kills. The vertical gameplay was very much about routes as well. So like you'd be like coming down a corridor, there's a guy there, you think, okay, I'm just going to jump straight off the side here, come around the back, and you often get those kind of like micro tactics going on here. And I was beating a lot of people this evening using the kind of micro tactics where I would just kind of come up to a pillar or a post and I would sort of do like a fake move. And this is the thing, is that because people are playing very twitchy, a lot of the time they sort of, if you make a bit of a move, they instantly sort of feed off of that. So if you make like a break to the left and you go behind a pillar, they react and go, oh, he's going that way. So they turn to move that way. If you just make that break and then turn immediately back the way you came, very often you can get behind him and you just get that little kill, or they just maybe have that extra half second that they didn't, they couldn't respond in time and you get the kill. So there was a lot of little things like that happening. But overall, the gameplay was just incredibly exciting, really good, really full on. And I was playing with complete randoms for a lot of the time, and the gameplay was very, very good. everyone was pushing pretty hard. There were sections where, people, got a bit disoriented with the team play. It didn't work so good. But overall, it was just great gameplay. I enjoyed it massively. So, could we include this in Battlefield 4? Could you see CQC in Battlefield 4? Definitely you could. I mean, there'd be a question mark, I guess, in terms of how much time now DICE LA would be able to put into something like another DLC pack. It seems unlikely, perhaps, I suppose, when you consider that they're still doing on the Dragon Valley stuff. But so expecting them to make like brand new maps that are CQC for Battlefield 4, that might be a bit of a stretch. I mean, look how long it's taken to bring out these other new maps, and those guys are working pretty hard. They're doing all this stuff for the game and things, so I think people obviously very much appreciate that, and it might be a big ask to sort of say like, oh, thanks for this DLC, but can you do another one? But what might be more feasible, and in an ideal world, let's have some new maps, right? Let's have some new CQC maps that are nicely designed and give us some refreshing stuff like that. But you can't have everything. But what would be a better, sort of compromise? Well, the maps for the CQC from Battlefield 3 work incredibly well. And, if it's not broken, don't fix it. And I would like very much to see just a literal translation of these maps brought into Battlefield 4. We've had this in the past with the Second Assault DLC, and those map updates were very good. They kept very true to those maps, and they played out very well. I would very much like to see a kind of Second Assault attitude brought forward with the CQC maps, because the CQC maps, as we say, are just excellent. They play so good. The gameplay you get from them is brilliant, and you just don't get bored. When the DLC for the CQC maps came out, I remember just grinding it out for hours on hours and hours, days on days on days on days and days. And even now, you can jump into it, and because you have that refined sort of knowledge about every little angle of the map, you can really move fast, and you can play fast, and you can have like the micro tactics around little sections of the map when you're engaging other guys, and it just played really good. Really, really, really good. I would very much like to see this come to Battlefield 4. I mean, you have maps like the Donya Fortress. Donya Fortress is an amazing map, and I wish I had some gameplay, but as I say, couldn't find the servers. But on Donya Fortress, it is one of the best maps. I love that map. Everything about it plays out so excellently. 925, it's not too bad. Scrap Metal is pretty good if you have some good teams on that one. It was very reliant. Scrap Metal I always found was very reliant on the teams, because the staircases and things could get a little campy from time to time. But if you had a team who knew what they were doing, they usually could work out the other routes and stuff and get around, the enemies there. Ziba is just always good all the time, which is why it tends to be the map that's up all the time. I don't know if I couldn't maybe sort of try and organise some kind of events where we host a server for like just one weekend or something to try and get some gameplay here. I don't know. That might be pretty nice if I could find like a solid weekend and we say like, okay, this is Battlefield 3 close quarter weekend, and I would like maybe host a server around it. That would be pretty exciting, and I'll look into the possibility of doing something along those lines. I'll try and figure out what I can do there. But would we be likely to see this in Battlefield 4? Probably not. I mean, it's probably not on their scope or not on their radar to be thinking about doing, but it'd be nice to think that they could just bring these maps through, maybe give them a little refresh in like some very small areas and things. I don't know, I haven't really sort of thought what that could be, but you could throw in some other little embellishments and bits and pieces like that. But more importantly is to just keep the core spacing the same on all of the maps, keep all the design the same in terms of layout, so that they flow and they have that same kind of feel if you were to play them. I would really love to see it happen. I think it would be absolutely fantastic. It would be great for the game. It would give us something new to do, and you literally never get tired of playing these maps. I don't. I could just play them forever, and I think that says a hell of a lot about the design of these maps, and it also says a lot about that style of gameplay. Tell me your thoughts below, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. And as I said, we'll try and see if we can't figure out something for Battlefield 3. But as always, more content coming up very soon, and Star Wars Battlefront is on the way as well. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.